All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Friday Forum, March 11, 2022. Let's get right into it. So just in time for St. Patrick's Day, we got all green SLAs across everything from ops to engineering, which is an exciting milestone. NPS is up to 67. We've had 5 consecutive weeks of great scores climbing at this most recent week. Conversion rate is way up. This is probably due to some price testing that artificially inflated our rates, but still exciting. Subscriptions up 38% week over week, and our replacement rates are low. And then unsubscribes are also very, very down week over week. So exciting stuff there. Andrew has more on the Eng SLAs later in the update. We made some progress this week on ironing out our plans for the IRB studies. So we, as most of us know, have 100,000 participants worth of IRB studies approved, and we're now working on getting those launched. And that includes ironing out our device pricing, supply volume, building out plans for bundling, for example. So all of this stuff is, we're making rapid progress, and we should be still on track for liftoff with these studies shortly. More from JM later. And then Caitlin Shore, we mentioned this last week, but Caitlin Shore officially accepted. She'll be joining us as associate editor, which is super exciting. Very, very much looking forward to having Haney have that force multiplier on his team. If you know Caitlin, if you spoke to her, please reach out. Otherwise, she'll be joining us, I think, end of this month, or no, April, early April. We had our first Snapwire visual assets, the scaling project experiment, which featured our own Brittany. You can see that right here. So the goal here is to take our visual and brand guidelines and be able to scale them to produce more visual assets without our team. I'm not sure how many people on this call know, but Stacy Flinner and David have produced essentially all the visual assets that we've used so far for the company. And that's across press, our website, in the app, which is phenomenal and amazing. But we now are at the point where we need to produce so much of this content that we have to scale it. And so this is the first experiment. Looking forward to the lessons learned, and pretty awesome to see Brittany out there. We launched our new paid podcast experiments on Mind and Matter and Next Level Human. So we'll be learning from those. And we also brought on Mike Hanna, who you can see here as our newest YouTube affiliate. He made a viral video called "Don't Eat Mr. Beast's Chocolate Bar Until You See This," which featured levels prominently and hit like almost 7 million views very fast. So he's excited to make more content featuring levels. I personally listened to Mr. Beast's Joe Rogan Experience podcast this week, and it was totally mind-blowing. The machine that he's built for content is really impressive. And anyway, excited to kind of harness some of this YouTube creator mind share. We've got the first video, which I found this really, really interesting. So the first video in a series with Taylor Sittler, who, well, the topics are going to vary, but this one was focused on inflammation. And the goal here is to have like kind of an approachable doctor conversation. If everyday lay people who don't really understand these mechanisms, having a conversation with a physician who is deeply entrenched in research, and have that conversation very candidly, very conversationally, so that we can get some of these topics expressed in an approachable format. So this first one was launched just internally. I recommend everybody go watch that and provide some feedback. And then you can see here, this is Sean. You can't really read the caption, but it says, "I've had this on for 9 days and it's awesome. No fraying, no peeling." So Sean is doing some experimental work on, we'll call it Performance Cover V Next, because we've had lots of Performance Cover iterations, but he's looking for a version that will solve for fraying and peel. And we've got a couple non-woven options, which are looking really great. Excuse me. And then other stuff on the page here, we've got some exciting coverage on Bicycling Magazine, Fit Insider, the Chalkboard from Bridget Tigmeyer. We recorded several episodes featuring Mac, who is on the call here with us today, Rachel Soper-Sanders from Routine, and several of our own team. I believe Mike D cranked out 2 podcasts back-to-back for the whole new level. So a lot of good stuff there. We had an IG Live with Dr. Mark Hyman and Casey, which I heard was phenomenal. We had like kind of an average of 1,000+ people engaged and tons of comments and excitement. And we had a really great update on the Now page, which I'm not going to get too far in, but I really like this visual that David put together, showing kind of how the resources have been distributed right now. So we've got like this V0.5 where member success is mostly focusing. This is like what's out there and being used and that we're learning about with user testing. We've got engineering focused on this V1, which is up next. So we're building V1. We've got this future version, V2, which design is focusing on. So I really like that distribution of where we are in the various sort of functional groups and what to expect coming soon. And then some great stuff on the memo front. as well as a couple of validations of our challenges experiment, people seeing the reality of oatmeal versus chia seeds, for example, and learning these lessons with their own data, which they find counterintuitive, but also exciting. And we've got an upcoming Meet the Team page being built out for levelshealth.com. I think that covers it. That I want to welcome Mac Conwell from Rarebreed VC. Mac's former software engineer, two-time founder, and now founder and managing partner at Rarebreed, investing in underrepresented founders. And the thesis is, I think, a really exciting one. I'd love to hear from Mac, who is participating in our founder and operator round as well. I'd love to just hear some words from you, Mac, and just about Levels, about your thesis, about what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate that intro. The little bit about the thesis at Rarebreed. So we're an early stage pre-seed to seed venture fund. We invest primarily in companies outside the major tech hubs, outside of Silicon Valley, New York, and Massachusetts, but we still invest in those areas opportunistically. And we're industry agnostic. We invest in any and all things. And really the thesis for us is we invest in everybody. I've built a career, one as an underrepresented founder myself for two companies. One I sold to American Express, the second one not so successful. And I worked for the investment arm in the state of Maryland for 4 years, where I started the first and only state-backed pre-seed fund for women and minorities in the country. So that's a little bit about my background. And at Rarebreed, while we're not exclusively focused on underrepresented founders, it is something that's really important to us. And our investment in Levels is really unique for us. We're early stage investors. We typically invest pre-seed and seed, not at series B or C or anything like that. But my ethos when I think about just investing in general is I love to invest in just quality companies and quality deals. And Levels was an opportunity that spoke to me on so many levels that I couldn't pass up, right? One, it's an amazing company. It's an amazing brand. It's doing something that's really changing people's lives. And the key thing that Levels is starting off with, checking out people's glucose, is really personal for me as a type 2 diabetic, right? I'm constantly looking for better ways to improve my health because I want to be here for a long time, right? Like I want to be around, and it's an issue that plagues my community, in the African-American community, much higher than others. And it's something that we don't talk enough about. It's something we're not doing enough about. And so I see Levels as one of the companies that could truly change the way we view our bodies, the way we view our health, the way we interact with our health, the way we interact with food, right? Like these are all key things. And it's fitting in a wave that we're seeing, especially, with our generation, but younger generations where people want to be more in tune with their bodies. They're checking how much they sleep, right? It's not just so much counting calories now. Like I can see how my glucose levels interact with different types of food with some fairly close to real-time data, which is incredible. And when we think about a company like Levels, my hope is that there becomes a day where this is something that everybody has, that everybody can get, that everybody's talking about, right? We've had a few barbershops here in Baltimore where if you come in and get your blood pressure checked and some other health vitals checked, they'll give you a discount for your haircut, right? As a way to introduce, being more in tune with your health and your body in our communities. I definitely see a world where Level Health is a part of that, right? Where Level Health could do things like that, be in nail salons, be in barbershops, be where the community is, be where all these different desperate communities who aren't getting the proper health care or may not have the financial wherewithal, but can be subsidized by local businesses, could be really, really powerful, right? Those kinds of things intrigue me significantly. And so that's why when we saw the opportunity to invest in Levels, even though it was outside of what we normally do, it still speaks to a very quality investment, a quality company that even at this late of a stage, purely from a capitalistic standpoint, can return a lot of capital, but then from a personal standpoint, can really change the world and change people's lives. It's already starting to change mine. And, I have so many friends and family members who want to know more, who want to be a part. And I understand that the price point isn't as easily accessible for everybody today, but I see a world where you get there. I see a world where there are community organizations that subsidize these things. You know, these are things that I hope to help levels in the future talk to folks here in Baltimore about, right? Like this is really important for us. And so that's why levels is so cool to me.
Wow. There's so much there that I think we've talked about and we've brainstormed about, but hearing it from your perspective, and especially I think the way that you describe health opportunities woven into the community, the fabric of the community. I hadn't heard about, for example, like barbershops subsidizing a health scan or a health diagnostic. That's a fascinating concept. And I really do look forward to a world where we have people who are informed, no matter what their background, what their means, who are informed about what their current bodily status is and how it's affected by the choices that are in some circumstances inflicted on them without their knowing. And I think that, it's something that we're all here to try and achieve together, is make sure that we get to the point where everyone has the ability to understand their health status and can take control over it. So Mac, speaking for the whole team, couldn't thank you enough for being here today, but B, participating and backing us and our vision, even though we're a little bit outside the standard thesis for Rarebreed. I think we all agree there's a lot that we can do together, and I look forward to it.
Me too, man. Me too.
Amazing. I know you're super busy. We have a whole bunch of stuff to cover in the rest of this meeting. If you want to stick around, we would love to have you. We've got another like personal share section at the end, but absolutely no hard feelings. If you have to jump off, please do whatever is best for you.
I think I got to hop on a recording with Ben for the podcast.
Of course, we're compromising your schedule. All right. Well, thanks so much, Mac. It was really awesome to hear from you.
Thank you for having me. Keep up the great work, everybody.
All right. Jumping ahead, I want to welcome Dan. So Dan Summers, formerly of SpaceX, now of Levels, is here with us as Technical Operations Manager for Research and Development. And there's a lot of great stuff on this slide. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to let Dan take it from here.
Yeah, thanks, Josh, for the intro. Nice to meet everybody. Glad to be finally an active participant in the forum instead of just watching from the sidelines for the last few months. But so a little bit about me. I currently live in LA with my wife and two young boys, Barrett and Cameron. We're soon to be relocating to Cincinnati, Ohio, where my wife Leslie's parents live. So we're eager to take advantage of the grandparent connection to give ourselves some more space and time to do things for ourselves, which we're very much looking forward to. As Josh mentioned, I'm joining Levels from SpaceX, where I had the opportunity to work on the Raptor program and lead the engineering team for integration and test of that engine, which essentially involved building the engine and getting it ready for hot fire testing in McGregor, Texas. Prior to SpaceX, I worked at GE Aviation, did various roles in supply chain management and supported both commercial and military jet engines. And just really excited to be working with you all, excited to help people live more informed and healthy lives and participate in that mission. And excited to have some more time to spend with my family and do the things that I love to do outside of work. So again, thanks for the warm welcome, and couldn't be happier to be a part of this team. Awesome.
Yeah, to speak for Brett in the chat, Levels will be needed in space travel. That's absolutely true. If we're going to be interplanetary, we're going to have to there's no ER in outer Earth orbit. So yeah, awesome to have you, Dan. Anybody who hasn't had a chance, please connect with Dan, reach out, offer a warm welcome, and make yourselves available. He's going through onboarding right now, learning a lot of new stuff. And it's always helpful to hear from the other side, so to speak. Great to have you, Dan. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Josh.
All right. Quick culture and kudos. This is mostly just celebrating Levels IRL. So top left here, I believe this was last night or maybe the night before. This is a really exciting get together of a ton of people, including both current team, new team, potential team with some candidates. Rob there in the back, not eating pizza, which is amazing. Lenny, we've got some VCs, we've got VJ there. just really awesome to see this type of crowd come together. And I can only imagine what was discussed there and what the blood sugar levels look like with that sort of feast. But pretty great to see. And then last night, Sam and Varia hosted us in their new spot in New York. We had a small get together and played some games, shared some stories, and it was just really great to connect with everybody. So love seeing these. Please, if you have an opportunity, I'm seeing right now, Sean and Hal are currently together there in I'm assuming BC, so British Columbia, and that's awesome to see. So we got meetups happening left and right. This is great. So please document these when you do get together. We don't often have this opportunity, and it's always great to see.
Can I point out one thing that
Please.
this really old lady who'd never used an iPhone took this picture with her finger over the camera, and I'm actually stunned that we used this one, A, and that B, that her finger is not in it, because everybody in here is mumbling, your finger's on the phone, and she would just look at her friend, and their friend would be like, it's fine. And then they just kept her finger over the camera. That's all I just wanted to point out. Yeah, exactly. Miz did a perfect impression.
And Lenny was afraid he wasn't going to get his phone back, right? There was this moment where she kept backing up.
Well, that's why the iPhone's got like 7 lenses now, so it's you don't have enough fingers to cover all those lenses. All right, the main thing, level shows you how food affects your health. Just to repeat the prayer, if you don't feel like you're working on something that's going to show our members how food affects their health, check in. Let's make sure that those priorities are aligned. And some of this stuff is sort of long plays, doesn't necessarily connect with today, but we want to make sure that it's on that path. I'm going to let JM take the North Star metric.
Right on. Another up week, up 2.6% week over week with 1753 daily active food loggers over 7 days. We are almost at most food loggers ever. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, JM. All right, jump into product. Scott.
Hey everybody. All right, coming off a really cool San Francisco trip. I'm going to be out for the social shares, so I'll just say that I had a good time meeting everybody in person. I think I walked 20 miles over 2 days, just kind of around Golden Gate Park. Luckily, we were pretty centrally located, so we're able to just kind of grab some meals and then hit the Panhandle and out to the park. So on the priority side, nothing much has changed. There was a request from a couple of my chats to introduce a new slide. So go ahead and go to the next one about kind of where the dev team is at right now. So I hope this gives us maybe a little bit of a picture around most of the web team right now focused on liftoff. We're doing a lot of backend API work and some subscription uplift. So bundling, purchasing a couple things at once. And most of the design and PM work is really centered around liftoff and around the Now project. If you saw the thrashing going on this week around a lot of the liftoff stuff, we are so close and sometimes so far, and depending on the day of the week that you ask, the answer might change within a period of a couple hours. And so good news there, but just to kind of give a sense for where people's time is being allocated. So that's it for me. I'm going to drop, but I had a really, really, really great time in San Francisco. I've been here 8 months, and this was the first time that I met a lot of the people that I work the closest with in person. So I'll just say for people that are considering a trip, pick a big city and fly to it. One of the things that I did for this trip that I would encourage too is, especially somebody like Andrew, who I work really closely with, he's in Durango. Neither of us are in one of the locust cities of San Francisco or New York. So I just told him, I'm going to book a ticket and I need you to do the same. And then we can try to get a couple other people together. Flinner was around and so happened to stay in town. And Taylor just also happened to be in town. Casey, same thing. But I think the more we get people to travel to a big city, it's easy for other people to book a 1 or 2 day trip. And so I think taking the initiative to do these things to get everybody together, it was really nice to break bread, quite literally, and eat a good meal and have enough wine to cloak all of the bad things happening inside of us, but it tasted yummy and was glad I got to meet everybody. So that's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. And this is a super helpful slide for sure. Cool.
Oh, sorry. One more. Totally on track here. David continues to do a great job. Been 3 days since our last release. Nothing to say about that. Nothing else.
Sweet. Love to see it. Another green SLA.
Yeah.
All right. Got a membership update from Maz. Make sure my sound is sharing.
Hi, everyone. A quick update for you on elasticity. Elasticity remains to be around 1 for prices under 100. So very similar to what we saw last week. And this was on the double opt-in. And on the Sinclair, we actually reached our target numbers. And so we concluded the experimentation with the final elasticity being around 0.7. So the takeaways are similar to last week, and I'm going to do a more retrospective analysis that we'll share with you all in a week or two, looking at other factors as well. So keep an eye out for that. But generally, I think the experiments went really well, and they're very useful to do. On the membership front, we spent a lot of time actually working with the CGM partners this past week around different aspects. But one of the things that we were working through was what idea of bundling labs with the CGM subscription. In the end, I think we got what we needed and wanted. So the outcome was good in working with our CGM partners. And so for now, we are going to keep subscription unbundled with labs, meaning people can purchase labs, but it's not going to be bundled as a package. But during this exercise, I think we also got a lot more clear as a team that including labs as part of the experience is going to be beneficial, and it's going to show efficacy of the program and also provide context for using CGM. So I think the takeaway is that labs can play a really big role, but for now we'll keep them unbundled, and maybe sometime in the future we'll offer a SKU that is bundled, but we can do that right now without the bundling. So anyways, we're moving forward on that front, and things are looking good. That's it, short and sweet for this week. Thanks, bye.
Awesome, thank you, Maz. John.
Yeah, thank you. We launched most of the tagging features 2 days ago when the last version was approved in the app stores. We don't have enough data yet. Not everyone is on the last version, but we can see that our members are starting to use them. Regarding food recognition, from almost 800 users that uploaded a picture, almost 80% of them got a valid recognition results, and 36% of them used the suggestions to finally create a log. On the other hand, from the members that started the login process, regardless whether they uploaded a picture or not, 30% of them used the suggestions to create a log. On the right side, you can see the usage trends. Besides the food recognition and suggestions usage, more people are opening the insights page in the zone screen, and then the tag page to get more information about a specific tag. From the more than 18,000 food logs created in the last 2 days, we have detected more than 44,000 tags. So excited to see that our members are using this already. That's it.
Really great. I'm loving the data here to back up these rollouts. Thanks, John. All right, David.
Hey everyone, happy Friday and greetings from Vermont. I wanted to give you a quick update on the status of the Now project as of Friday morning. So right now we are expecting and hoping to release our very first cut of the Now project to members with this week's build. This is the limited release. We'll be rolling it out to a small percentage of our members. And the goal here is to get feedback on how the new UI is landing. We hope that with the simplified UI, the focus on a single thing to do now, that's going to increase awareness and engagement with the insights that we present to our members and give them a clear understanding of what to do next. So as of this morning, there's still one active PR under development. It's looking like we'll be able to get that in, and we can launch to the members in the next couple of days. So huge thanks to Justin, Steph, Murillo for getting us to this point. It's exciting to be able to finally get our hands, get this into the hands of our members and get them feedback. And huge thanks to Mike and Chris for all the content production and helping set up the member testing. I wanted to also give you a quick overview of where we're going. So in the Now forum, there's a longer 10-minute loom if you're curious about the details of the big picture overview and roadmap for what comes next in our learning plan. But at a high level, after we get this first phase where we're testing the UI, all of the UI overhaul out the door, we're going to be really seeking to answer not just that kind of scaffolding, but robustly hitting all the common questions that people have and ensuring that we have a high comprehension during week 1, so that people feel like they understand what to do with levels, like they understand the basic questions about metabolism and glucose and how their food is affecting their health. And engineering has started actively working now on this week 1 comprehension phase, which is focused on an improved onboarding, weaving in first time experiences, whether it's your first time logging, first time seeing any sort of score, or first time engaging with other parts of the app. And then what I'm especially excited about are the event-based insights, where we pair our education material in context with your food logs and help you understand with that new Instagram style stories explainer that we have. Okay, well, engineering starting here, design has moved on to the next phase of the project here, which is layering on goals and the guided journey. So now that it's personalized, now that we have insights relevant to you, how can we take the next step and make our suggestions on what to do next even more powerful and persuasive? Well, we can do that if we know what you want to get out of levels and what your aspirations are, and having an arc that will take you on that journey, whether it's longer term, weekly or daily goals that you want to set. This is going to be an important layer to it. So design is just starting to think about this. This is coming in the future, more details to come, but that's where we are. All right, have a nice day.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Awesome stuff on the now page. This is like one of the crucial projects that obviously show people how food affects their health. So connecting these 3 phases through to an outcome, and then learning from that outcome is going to probably kick off further versions. But yeah, getting to V2 is going to be awesome.
Hey,
let's try and jump ahead without playing.
Hey everyone, happy Friday.
Hey everyone, hope you're all well. Quick ING, SLA, and KPI check-in. If you missed last week and want to know what all these numbers mean, check out last week's Friday forum. I walked through a bit about like what pull requests are and like the process and that sort of stuff. So meeting our goals this week, both on the ING velocity pull request side and hiring. I mentioned last week we're going to start to call out interesting stuff that happened throughout the week. So I want to specifically call out Justin's work with the Now project. And so this pull request was quite large, but he attached like a over 20-minute loom walking through it and made it really, really easy to follow along. Like, you know, what are all these bug fixes? Why do they exist? How do they work? Had a lot of demos in there. And so I know this is really time consuming, but for any reviewer, this is absolute gold. So they don't have to like infer exactly why something exists. They can, you know, get a more interactive walkthrough with him. So absolutely fantastic. I hope everyone has had a great week.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks, Eng team. Quick hiring updates. So we have Galit and Steven starting March 28th, and Caitlin is now starting April 11th. Exciting stuff. Those are, by the way, software and associate or senior editor for Caitlin. And then open roles remain in the software engineering, visual design, corporate counsel, chief of staff. If you know someone who would be a great fit for the Levels culture and these roles specifically, please point them towards levels.link/careers. Over to Alan.
Did we get that refresh in? Maybe one last refresh just in case.
Yeah, I'll shoot another out.
All right, thanks so much. Okay, so I always try to pick 3 themes for these updates. And I think the big ones this week were comprehension, awesome logging, and metabolic reports, or essentially investment. Brett's going to talk about awesome logging. Let's start with comprehension. So next slide, please. Okay, so we have pretty typical onboarding experiences, and we've got some of this kind of reader material, integrated information in the product experience, which will be great. There's always going to be, our users are pretty invested, and so they're likely, a large proportion of them are likely to at least take a glean at some of this. I do think that there's this problem that we run into kind of for everybody, is that you throw enough text at people and eventually they just kind of look like Homer here. So we've got to do a little bit more of a little better job to help people understand how these things work. Next slide. And so, you know, it's funny, this didn't occur to us until yesterday, and I don't know why. I think I've gotten no on Learn Through Play so many times that I just stopped asking. And now really the way to do this is to actually start experimenting and playing and giving people something enjoyable to use so they understand how it works. I think we can all kind of identify with this guy making elephant foam. So next slide. So, you know, just in terms of the experience right now, you essentially With onboarding, you tap, tap, tap through it. You go through a bunch of educational material. You end up with a bare experience, and then you're kind of lost, of course. Users feel guilty. We have to explain it to them. So we're going to do a bit more. We're starting to look at more of a graduated onboarding experience where you have specific tasks you need to do to essentially unlock the experience. Now, that could feel like a drag, and then people just tap through it even faster. So how do you make that locked experience behind education like a little bit more enjoyable? So what we're talking about now is potentially the glucose graph actually being behind this interactive explainer. And so you would tap on it, you'd open it up, and then you go through this experience here. So we talk a little bit about glucose ranges, say, hey, maybe a little bit less time up here, kind of more in the middle. Next slide. And then give you a chance to actually start adding things to this graph. You know, we wouldn't allow you to go through until you could do some really fun stuff here. So if you add, you know, healthy fats and fibers and protein, maybe it doesn't change all that much. You add a bunch of sweet stuff like grapes and pineapple, maybe it explodes and takes off. You add a bunch of pineapples, you just keep tapping. The glucose line just like shoots up like a rocket, and you end up maybe seeing an astronaut or the moon or something. And just giving people like a chance to make this kind of fun and playful, we're hoping will kind of unlock a little bit more of a understanding on how these things work. And of course, you can add things like exercise, and there'll be sort of a playful way to do this that I think will be kind of engaging and a little bit more fun. Yeah, I said fun a lot. Next slide, please. And here's Brett on awesome logging.
Hey friends, this is my stab at food logging. So I'm gonna do it once really fast just to show you how fast we can make it, right? So I hit plus. What's going on now? I'm gonna tell you. I'm very stressed or I'm very zen. Hit save. Boom. That's it. What was this? Oh yeah, what happened today around 11? Well, I ate some food. Size, I ate the whole bag of chips. Carbiness was pretty up there. Take a picture. That's the last one in my camera reel. There's some tags. They all make sense. I hit save, and it's over. So that's like the really quick way. I'll go back through it a little bit slower now. But that was like, I think 30 seconds. So yeah, the idea being that like, we have the now pops up, but then we also have like, hey, we saw something. These are obviously for our CGM users. We saw something happen, and like we'll get to that if you want, but like you can grab here. So if I drop in, I get this quick slider, intense, neutral, zen. We're gonna go with zen. I hit save, a little pop and happy, and then same follows over here. So oh yeah, I remembered I had that thing. What was it? It was this. I can add a note if I wanted. I can add a photo first and come to the sliders later. Again, oh, there's the pictures from our SF meetup. I hit save. Here are all the tags that are associated. I could always add more. Boom, slider, save, logged. Anyhow, that's logging.
Awesome logging. Okay, and so following up on logging, you know, building a bit more investment in the experience is going to be great, and we hope give people a bit of a better reason to do these things. So we're going to start exploring how to get on streaks, add some acknowledgement, and build toward sort of a larger report. So why are you logging? Well, you're supposed to be getting insights and information from us, and so I think we need to have a bit more of a crystallized artifact for doing all this work. So on the left, you got an example of a report, and it's going to start building up as you're logging. We'll give you, status updates on that. If you keep logging every day, you go on a streak, and we'll continue to update that and reward you and give you a bit of a thumbs up when you're actually doing these things. And then next slide. And again, these are all sort of early sketches, so don't take it too seriously. But so on the left, we're going to sort of potentially have a permanent spot for this report that's sort of building up every time you log. And when you finally get it, you get some sort of pretty visualizations of what's happening in your body, give you some prompts for maybe ingredients to avoid or when you're most likely to spike. So these long-term trends. And that's it for design this week.
Wow, what an update. That was awesome. Really excited for this stuff. Especially as we get to the point where, for example, that demo of adding different foods and seeing the predicted response, as we can calibrate that to you. Maybe you have a little bit of data on CGM and we can use that to predict realistic responses for you personally. as opposed to an average. It's just opportunities are endless. I love it. Thank you, team.
Everyone, giving you another Athena weekly update. So still we have 8 active EAs from the past week, 17 levels team members who delegated tasks, and a total of 137 tasks we were able to accomplish. So we were just down by a few numbers because from the week of February 20 right here, we were able to work on 152 tasks. So as you can see, we are just going down a bit right here. But moving forward, let me show you a new delegation for the week. So Josh asked Jean to migrate the content from the previous Friday forum slides to the new deck which Alan created. I actually have a video that I will be able to show you from Alan, wherein he's describing or giving more details about this specific delegation. So, but before that, I would just like to remind everyone, if you will be delegating a new task or you need assistance from any of the EAs, please email athena@levelshealth.com or simply send an Athena voice memo. But if you will be using the voice memo app, please remember to mention your name just so we will be able to know who to coordinate with or address for that specific task. So yeah.
All right, Chris.
Thanks, Josh. So first off, another new week, another new set of Snowflake dashboards. There are 2 with the links included around subscriptions and blood, everything you ever wanted to know, and then even things you probably had no idea about. I just want to call out more from a kudos, or the collaboration on these with both JM and Maz was exceptional. I really enjoyed the back and forth, the looms, the JM taking, like, I started with one of JM's dashboards and then built it out. He took a couple of mine and added more things to it. So I just really, it felt great in terms of the collaborative nature of the 3 of us trying to get to this. So I just wanted to, one, hope people enjoy it, but just also talk about in terms of how we work was pretty fun to watch or be a part of. Next. The SLA dashboard, Josh already talked about this, all kind of green across the board, so nothing to really focus on here. Next slide. This, in a lot of other direction.
Sorry.
There you go. I've reported a lot in the past about our top call drivers or top support drivers, but we actually have another field that we track that I actually don't report on a lot, which is support type. So this is something that we had for a while, and we actually really kind of re-released it back in November. And what we were looking for a lot is around what percentage of the tickets come in are a bug, a feature request, require support to do something, or is this an opportunity for self-serve? And what you can see the takeaway is roughly half of the tickets coming in are something where the content exists on our self-service on the content, and we're just kind of repurposing it, sending them links to things that are already out there. So Jesse and Brittany are spending a lot of time revamping our support page, the structure, relabeling them, make sure they have meta tags, because this is really the size of the pie of like, hey, how do we make sure that the content's in the app, searchable on Google, easy to get to, can really have a big impact in terms of our support volume. Next slide. And related to that, these are slides that you do see in my weekly in terms of the number of visits to our support site FAQs, which on a monthly clip is up huge. But actually what the metric I care more about is the content leverage. And quick reminder, this is the percent of people, the ratio of people that visit the FAQs versus reach out to support. So last February, almost a year ago, the ratio was 1. So for every person that visited an FAQ article, we had a person that reached out to support for help. Now, normally you want this ratio in a big company that's well established to be more like 10, 15, or 20x. So we are spending a lot of time trying to move this data. Like we're getting up around kind of 6, which is great progress, but we've got a lot of room to grow on this. So this is for us one of the real pillars on how do we scale support is by having great self-service content and making it easily accessible. Next slide. Net promoter comments for last week. A lot of what comes up is things that I've already covered, but there were 3 new things that I saw for the first time. In the bottom left, this is a detractor. This person, we get a lot of people that compare the CGM against a finger prick. This is the first time I saw someone comparing it against the blood panel. So they actually had the blood panel. they actually took a reading from the CGM at time of blood draw and then got the results around what their fasting glucose was, which actually shook their confidence and their interest in the device. So we see this against finger pricks, but it's the first time I saw it against a blood draw. In the middle bottom, this person's a promoter, but still has a couple of things that she wants to see. But for her, they actually have like several members of the family all using it. So you think of like a subscription, like you have a subscription to Netflix. They're like, hey, can we all use the same account? So there was, whether it be family discounts or just like, hey, how do we get more leverage or almost a bundle within a family versus it being individual? So just, and then on the right, a good call out, kind of bottom right, personalized medicine is the future, and the future is accessible to us now thanks to Levels. And that's it.
I love these voice of the member anecdotes. This is great. For the blood panel, maybe there's an opportunity here to, when you're getting the blood panel, to just raise the fact that if we know you have CGM data as well, that these two things are out of phase, and that you could, for this person, for example, it just might have been 15 minutes out of phase as opposed to completely wrong. Just might be an opportunity when we know that they're going to get that and be faced with that data juxtaposition. Could be a lesson. All right, Ben.
All right. Growth is focused on providing value through membership. Lots of great work going into it, everything pertaining to blood work, some of the exploration that Maz and Scott and JM have been doing. It's cool to see that evolve. Lots of work ahead. Bringing back the recognized revenue slide. So for the week, we are at 155. For the month, we are at 417. As far as weekly metrics, weekly active users, we're at just over 4,500, 57% of which have logged food at some time. That's 46,000 food logs this week, which is very cool. As far as total memberships and total email signups, let's remember these are vanity metrics. They are up and to the right no matter what we do right now. So we're at just over 7,700 all-time memberships. That's annual memberships, and 222,000 email signups. That's been increasing over the past few weeks, which is awesome to see. And next, we're going to talk about digital. So we are ramping up digital. We've talked about this slide before, and the idea is to break apart different parts of the stack so that we've got everyone working or doubling down in the areas that they are that will provide the most value. So the idea is that right now with copy, or traditionally with copy, we have had different people working on different parts of the stack, that being Haney, Stacy, Tony, Mercy. A number of people have contributed to copy at some time, and it becomes pretty inefficient, and we can't give it the diligence that it needs to provide even more value for people and to be targeted for specific platforms. So what does this actually look like? Over the past week, I guess last week, we ended up working with an outsourced contractor to say, what does it look like if we give some metabolic health content and we break it down? We go deeper on the copy side of things, give very little guidance, and see what comes back. The idea is that this is a LinkedIn post. So this original post here, this is Ben Bickman and Casey did that podcast many months ago. But the original LinkedIn post described overall what the episode was about. So insulin resistance as it pertains to things like ear, nose, and throat. But it doesn't give a breakdown of some of the takeaways, some of the ways that people can think about things if they don't watch the video. So the copy on the right, this is copy that the copywriter broke down and not only synthesized what's in the video, but provided some clear takeaways. So somebody can read this, and this is basically content that is derivative content from the original piece. On the right, this originally came out from Sam's account, but it was Nick Sharma when he appeared on forum, and the tweet says, hey, here's Nick Sharma. He was on forum. Check out the video. On the right is, again, Betsy McLaughlin. So it is not a perfect benchmark, but it is conceptually the same, where rather than just post the link to the video, there's a narrative, there's a storyline about her journey and some of the things that she talks about in the video. So the benefit of having a copywriter is that we can get a lot deeper in the value that we provide, and then we can get targeted on different platforms so that we're no longer putting out things like descriptions and titles for the podcast that are very elementary because it's a means to an end to get it done. We can actually provide more value in things like linking show notes and doing things like that. So we'll continue to double down on all these different platforms, but it's very cool to see this evolve. And the goal of doing all this is to free up time. So it's back to that idea of by breaking apart the digital stack, we can free up everyone's time so that they can work on specific parts of the stack and double down on that. That is it for growth as far as carve outs. Big hat tip to Tommy. So Tommy has been going really deep on everything related to tracking attribution, getting more diligence around some of the spend and the allocation so that there's even more team visibility. He's been working with Maz and JM, and very much appreciate all the work that's gone into that. So levels wise, hat tip to Tommy, big hat tip. Just appreciate the work going into that. And then on the personal front, loved the Mr. Beast episode. It's always cool to listen to people's stories when, to use Julia Lipton's words, when they are very saturated or very obsessed with an area. So just really enjoyed that, and it was a great podcast. So that's growth for the week, and that is it.
Love it. Thank you, Ben.
All right. Growth is focused on providing value.
This is outrageous. Tom.
All right, so a few slides for me this week on a recent decision that we made that I thought would be just worth calling attention to and unpacking the thought process around. And so that decision is that we are moving forward with not using special offers associated with our partner links once we launch and are in a post waitlist world. So shout out to Maz and JM, who were amazing thought partners in this and just carefully thinking through all of the considerations. And I'll call out that I'm referring to this as an experiment because, like most decisions, it's very much a two-way door, and we can take a different path in the future. Next slide. Okay, so what are special offers? The most common kind is a discount, and I think most of us are familiar with these. So these are screenshots from Tim Ferriss's newsletter on the top left, promoting 8 Sleep, Mark Hyman promoting BioOptimizer's Inside Tracker. And those are discounts. Again, those are the most common, but they also take other forms. So that's Kelly LeVeque promoting LMNT on the right, which is a free sample pack. Athletic Greens does free additional product. So if you buy Athletic Greens with the partner link, you get extra travel packs and vitamin D. And then Levels, we're all familiar with what we've been doing, which is, I think, a form of special offer, although it's pretty unique, and it won't last because we won't have a wait list at some point. And that's the consideration here is, so when we don't have a wait list, do we want to offer a special offer like other brands in the space? And the answer right now is no. So next slide. There are a few factors here that we're considering. So in no particular order, brand. Again, most common type is a discount, and we think that long-term relying on discounts is not the best strategy for building the most premium brand that is valued by the market and that our members, customers trust. We want to avoid being this guy here with the burgundy suit and the cig in his mouth, offering 50% discounts. And we also believe that offering these types of special offers, whether it's discounts or other financial incentives, actually ends up creating an environment for buyers that kind of sucks. I think we're all familiar with that feeling where you're searching for coupons or you are not sure if you're getting the best offer. You kind of feel silly, at least me, if I end up paying full price, it's really because I feel like I haven't spent enough time searching for discounts. You feel a little bit like a sucker. It also creates winners and losers. So if you are someone who happens to follow Mark Hyman, then you might get a big discount. And then, your friend who does not ends up paying, in the case of 8 Sleep, $250 more. And so long-term, we just don't feel that this is super aligned with some of our other values, like, member trust and transparency that we're trying to build. Next slide. There are certainly trade-offs and risks with this approach. Don't know why that screenshot down there is over my words. But I would say that if you want to learn more about how we're thinking about this, there's a memo that goes into much more depth. This is just kind of a cursory glance at some of the considerations. But we will be one of the only brands in the space that have even like attempted this. So there are reasons why people don't do this. One risk is just overall, think over the next couple of years, you're seeing fewer conversions that we otherwise would, fewer new members. This is something that we can test. And so we'll get an answer to this eventually. And my take is that in some sense, people that are only willing to purchase if there is a financial offer of some kind aren't that valuable to us anyway, especially in the early days, as we're really focused on building a really high quality community. Another factor here is just the partner experience, partner dissatisfaction. Partners want to be able to offer their community added value. So for those who belong to memberships like Peter Attia, he's constantly talking about how part of the value of his membership is offering discounts to his community. There's a screenshot here from a prospective affiliate who basically said, listen, I don't really care so much about the commission. I really just want to be able to offer my community some type of added value. So we're going to get some pushback here. The question is sort of how much. And then attribution gets more difficult. So you can imagine here, you'll see on the right there, if Tim Ferriss was promoting, go to levels.com/Tim Ferriss, just for no reason, but because I'm telling you to, and there's no offer associated with it, we're going to see some drop off here in terms of attribution, where people are going to be more likely to just go to the website and purchase because there's not an offer associated with a link. And that's okay. It doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be fewer overall conversions, but it will make tracking performance of specific marketing campaigns a little bit more difficult, which makes learning and optimizing more difficult as well. So again, if you're interested in this topic, check out the memo, and we'll be sure to report back later on in 2022 on how this is going.
Really like that dive. Thanks, Tom. I totally appreciate the principles here. And there's one other piece, I think, which is dark patterns, where if we discount in one area when we're in growth and our goals are to start to pull up revenue, or at least make sure the conversions are high, it creates an incentive to make up that quote unquote loss elsewhere. And so you start to shift around your priorities towards, having these cheap discount opportunities to increase volume. And then you have to make that up somewhere else by either jacking the price up or, making more margin overall. And to like Justin's question here about discount codes from doctors, I think it's a great idea potentially to have some sort of subsidization, but in general, we should get our prices as low as possible. Just like, as long as we know that our prices are low, then that discount is priced in, and that's the direction we should go. Thanks, Tom. Hey.
All right, 3 pieces up this week. The first one here is another one that we did with Pendulum Health. We did a great piece on the gut microbiome with them last year. They were super helpful, and so this was another sort of collaborative piece getting into some specific probiotic strains. Another 5 questions. We've been kind of in a dry spell with those for a while. We had kind of a backlog, but you'll start to see more of those rolling out now as we've been doing more interviews. And then the last one here is a piece that we worked on with Revel. It's just kind of in that, you see it's in the metabolic basics category. This is an example of getting some of that kind of core information out there in different ways. So this is 5 of the worst types of food. So this is things like sugar, fast food, refined flour. We have those tips elsewhere, but this is a chance to sort of get them all together in one place. This is another format of getting out some of this core information. So you'll see us continuing to do these kinds of articles. And then I just want to call out, because we do post it up on the blog, Casey's newsletter this week was great. This has really worked out well that we started posting these, because it's basically like I get a free blog post out of all of Casey's work doing these. But this is a really cool one about sunlight and all the ways that it affects your body. So if you haven't read that, if you didn't see the newsletter, pop out to the site and read this one. It's really good. And again, super strong open rates. We'll probably top 50. What we've seen with these on opens is they build over time. I think people kind of save this because it's a longer one. So I'm confident we'll go over 50 with that. Next slide. Just some stats for the month. The kind of TLDR here is that we continued to climb. So January was an enormous month. We had that like sort of 60, I think it was like a 66% jump in January, and expected to kind of go back down in Feb. It's a shorter month, but also just coming off that big jump. But we actually continued to grow a little bit, about an 8% growth there. which was really cool. We're running a little bit of a natural experiment now where our contract with our SEO firm has expired, and we're taking a little bit of time to consider what we want to do next. And so we're going to run about a month, probably maybe more, without an SEO firm on board and some of the things they were doing, and we'll kind of see if that has any effect on some of this traffic, how much is being driven by backlinks versus other kinds of things. Email stats down below, just calling out that these continue to be good. We ran an experiment with the past 2 digest newsletters. That's our kind of general content roundup ones that we do, where we did them themed, and then we had a little intro at the top. And what we saw is those actually had really great open rates and pretty strong click-through rates. So that's another thing. We're not going to do every time, but when there is a sort of natural theme that emerges, we're going to play with that as a format, just and really, again, trying to lean into experimenting. The nurture emails, we're up through email 7 now, in terms of how many we've actually sent out to folks. So the first cohort is all the way through to 7. It's a little small there, but basically what we're seeing is kind of what we expected, which is the open rates do drop off over time, but I think are still strong. Even by 7, we're still at about a 50% open rate, which is good. And we're running some other tests right now on what if we send once a week versus twice a week. We're also running a test with what if we only send to members as opposed to anybody who gives us their email. Early indication is that really jumps the open rate from like 50 to 70%, something like that. But probably moving forward, we'll continue to send these to everybody. And then the big banner at the top, just calling out, I did put out a new memo this week, which is looking at sort of priorities, both tactical and strategic, for editorial for the next probably 18 to 24 months. So some really big picture stuff, a few sort of strategic considerations, but then a lot of just kind of practical, here's things we want to work on and lean into as Caitlin joins and, as we build out the organization. So that memo is out in the content forum in Threads if you want to take a look. That's all for content.
Really amazing stats here. Thanks, Haney. All right, made it. Kicking off. I don't believe Dom is with us. Helena.
Levels wise, I'm super excited about the Now project and all the member research I've been doing. I've been getting like a ton of great feedback and insights. So I'm excited to incorporate that. And then personally, it was really good seeing everyone last night, and I'll be in the city all weekend. So that's nice.
Uh-oh, I think we might have lost Karen.
I'm back, sorry.
Back.
I was on mute. Levels wise, I'm super excited about all the cool people joining the team. So I had a couple of great one-to-ones with Riley and Paul this week. And personally, I've got a bunch of furniture coming this weekend, which means I can get rid of some of these boxes behind me. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. Let's see. Maz.
Hey guys, levels wise, I was really excited to see everybody. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? But anyway, seeing everybody in the flesh was really fantastic. Just just as a whole different dimension. It was 2 days ago. Thanks, Miss. These days are flying by. But that was really great. And also talking to Vijay, which was one of our investors. It's really great to see that Level is so inclusive and not only invited employees, but prospective candidates and investors. So just really, really awesome. On the personal front, up in Tahoe this weekend, which is going to be fun, and hopefully I get to catch up with Brett.
Love to hear it. It's awesome. Dan.
Yeah, just having a great time meeting people one-on-one this week and getting up to speed. So that's professional, personal, putting a lot of focus on the logistics of moving across the country, which is always a good time.
I hear you. Mercy.
I guess kind of professionally and personally, I was able to schedule my blood draw and they came this morning and took it. So that was pretty exciting. Kind of gross. I don't like needles, but it was so quick. I was really surprised. I think they were in and out the door in like 8 minutes. So it was exciting. And then personally this weekend, gonna celebrate a late birthday celebration this weekend. So excited for that.
Yes. Azur.
Hey, levels wise, learning a ton, working on this physio and behavior resource, and love Lauren's clinical product strategy. I guess both is meeting Taylor in person for the first time today, and Casey hopefully next week up in Bend. I guess last is have my first trail race in years tomorrow, very early in the morning. So wish me luck.
Good luck. Sounds awesome. Rob.
So it was really wonderful to put faces to names. Chiclets are good for data information transfer, but not for networking. And so it was really a lot of fun to see everybody. Casey's going to be sending you, Josh, and Sam some added value potentials to take a look at. The other thing I wanted to let you guys know is I am now on the advisory board of the UC Davis Innovation Institute for Food and Health. Now, if that doesn't sound like Levels belongs in there, I don't know what does. So I will keep you all apprised of things that are going on in the, shall we say, in the food tech world that that Levels could potentially capitalize on.
Let's make it so. It's awesome to hear. Chris.
On the Levels front, watching the work from Brett and Alan just gets me supercharged in terms of like what's coming down the pipe. Super excited. So just great work. Can't wait to get it in the members' hands. Also on the Levels front, had a really good session with Jin Lu. She spent a lot of time walking me through how to do a PR for the data warehouse. So not only am I going to be building Snowflake dashboards every week, but now I'm actually going to be changing the underlying tables. So watch out if I start breaking stuff. So that should be fun. On the personal standpoint, super excited about the upcoming Austin meetup in a couple weeks and the planning and then also it's going to be 50 degrees for like 7 days in a row. So I have to think about sharpening the chainsaw, the lawnmower blades, and changing seasons and getting ready for farm life coming out of the deep freeze.
A whole new chapter of farm life that we get to all enjoy together. I love it. Taylor.
Hey, so professionally, I'm definitely going to have to echo the dinner the other night was really great. Really cool to see everybody. And I'm excited to go grab a beer with Azure today, which will be awesome. And then personally, I don't know if you can see, but I'm in the sunshine and driving down to Berkeley over the past week and getting a week's worth of sunshine has been great. I think I'm more plant than I care to admit. So this has been really nice.
Awesome. Steph.
Levels wise, I am excited about the designs that we just saw on Friday Forum for the Now screen. It was like Jackie had said, it was awesome to see everyone's little squares light up with their personal responses. So I'm excited for that. Engineering wise, it's been such a pleasure to work with Justin and Murillo and John as well on just the speed of iteration of how quickly things are getting fixed, even with unforeseen bugs. And so shout out to that. And I've been a bit jealous of seeing these meetups happen in these nodes, and part of me reconsiders my desire to live in Denver. And I was telling Helena, I thought like maybe I should move to New York just to be around people there. But I am excited to be going to Austin and meeting a lot of people I haven't met in person yet. Personally, maybe going to St. Patrick's Day parade this weekend and hoping to do some hiking and climbing as well.
Awesome. Looking forward to meeting in Austin. It's going to be a bingo card blast off down there. TBD who pulls ahead. Alan.
Professionally, it was great to meet everyone again last night and just hang out in person. I think I enjoyed it like more than I would have even expected. So it's really nice to see people. And personally, all you people talking about running, it's reminding me that I'm going for my first long run in a long time this weekend. So I'm both looking forward to and dreading that this weekend. Thanks.
That's awesome. Enjoy. Yeah, the weather is tantalizing out there. And also shout out Sam and Varia for hosting. I actually really enjoyed being just at someone's house rather than at a restaurant. It was a nice way to, we could play pictogram or whatever that was. Sissy.
Highlight for me from the levels front was seeing all the folks in SF on Wednesday and getting to know you all in person. I did my blood draw this week as well, and I'm excited to dig into the results. I'm typically someone who runs far away from blood work, and so the fact that I actually actively signed up for this was a change. On the personal front, I'm gearing up for a few weeks on the road. I'm stopping over in Jackson Hole, Montreal, and New York, so I'm excited to continue to check off some bingo boxes along the way.
Awesome. That sounds great. Mike.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in on the meetups. It's super cool to see it coming together organically. Like nothing is forced and all these things are happening. So it's really awesome. And then, yeah, shout out to Sam for hosting us. It was really, it's great to be in a restaurant, but it was definitely a different setting. And we were chatting last night. He's like, maybe we should make this monthly or every other month. So it's exciting to see like what these meetups will be. And then personally, I'll jump on the running thing. I do this thing called the 4x4x48, where you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So I'll start that tonight at 8 p.m.
Live stream it. You won't. For me, let's see. Personally, I am getting excited for the move that's upcoming to Austin. I'm very much excited about the meetups, but actually the highlight today was what I just saw from the design and product thinking around logging and around predictions and gamifying the experience of learning. It was unexpected and amazing. So loving those visuals and the interactivity. And then professionally, yeah, I think it's all wrapped up there. Like that was professional. So yeah, looking forward to meeting more of the team. Love seeing everybody meeting each other. It's so cool. Andrew. Andrew's tethering right now. So there he is.
Tethering in the car. Yeah, so I hope this works. I hope you all can see me. I am really excited about the IRB and API stuff. This is a really big piece, incredibly meaningful to the company. And also meeting people in person was just so warming. It was so nice to meet several of you. Personally, I am on my way to cheer on my wife on a half marathon. So yeah.
This became the unofficial marathon/running podcast/forum. Tony.
Yeah, excited for the team growth. Also want to give a quick shout out to Brittany for being a part of our visual experiment with the Snapwire photographer this past week. We got some great content, but overall, I think there was some great takeaways from this shoot that's definitely going to help us scale these shoots moving forward. So I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. How?
Yeah, professionally and personally, really excited to meet Sean in person. Thanks to all the Bold Eagles come out to greeting him. Nothing really going on for the weekend, but I'll see what I can do for fishing.
Love it. Sunny.
I'm going to add my plus 100 for the design work. I'm just completely pumped for that. It's any way that we can deliver this and make it more accessible, relatable to folks, speaks to the prayer and speaks to my heart. So I'm here and ready for all of that. And I know I said the last week of skiing is already coming past, but if you've been following the weather at all, we all got dumped on out here. So I cannot deny the allure of another bluebird day with powder. So we're probably going to try to do one more day if we can make it.
Wow. Love that. Brett.
So I get it now, how this place works. So at my old companies, this is my personal one, I guess. I don't know what we're talking about anymore, but at my old companies, like if somebody did something, it all had to feed into some other person's ego and like, or some other person's agenda. And like, it's like, so, and it's so refreshing that like, I see everybody is just like, gets them up like, hey, I got an idea. I'm going to start running. And it's going to like, you can run with me on it or like, you know, or maybe we'll run it. Maybe it won't run anywhere. But it's like really interesting to like see this thing turn from the inside, and it brings me great joy. Yeah, hopefully I'm gonna see Maz. I just told him to text me. Yeah, I got this. I'm making music. I've been making beats while we talk, so I've just been scratching the other part of my creative brain. But yeah, and thank you so much to everybody who loved you know, the logging stuff, and then you know, and obviously Alan slayed it on his front. So Yeah, looking forward to hopefully having some more crazy stuff for next week.
Let's see it. Drop the tunes and threads if you don't mind.
That would make me sweat. One day.
Brittany.
Thanks. On the level side, really excited about the design updates again, and especially that graduated onboarding experience. I think that's just going to be so helpful, and was really awesome watching that logging demo too. And then on the personal side, I have my father-in-law in town visiting this weekend. So I'm just excited to have some family time and hang out with him. Thanks.
Nice, enjoy. Let's see, Ms. I don't see you anymore.
Yeah, I'm here
There he
somewhere.
is.
The meetup was really great. I'm trying to think why. I think it's just like meeting the real people behind the threads and the Zoom tiles, and just enjoying the chats and connecting socially has been really energizing. So great to meet everyone, and I enjoyed sitting next to Rob and having some good chats. So everyone else gets a call out too, but him in particular. And then looking forward to Austin to do some more of it and meet more of the ops team. And other than that, have a few podcasts. I've really fallen behind on the queue and just can't keep up, but there's a lot of good stuff on our podcast and in podcasts in general. So haven't run in like a decade. So enjoy for all those doing that, and I'll listen to some podcasts on a walk.
You know, a run would be a great opportunity to catch up on this podcast. David, not with us. Justin.
Ben and I had a great meetup on Saturday here in Winnipeg. I also would really loved the design stuff. The new logging was really fun, and I love little quick things like that right off the tab bar itself. And yeah, going to my brother's cabin this weekend. Probably do some snowmobiling, maybe. We'll see. I usually wear my sister-in-law's hot pink gear. That's all that fits me, but yeah, should be fun.
Snowmobiling is one of life's greatest joys. It is amazing. Jam.
You know I say this a lot, but I'm so grateful for the async and remote way we do things other than this phone call. I did a run this morning, zone 2 speeds, as I was advised by some of you, but I'm training for the Allen half at the end of May. On a work note, another really, really good forum. I don't know if these things are just getting better or if I'm just feeling good or whatever, but really, really wonderful. I'm going away for 2 weeks. I will actually be at forum 2 weeks from now. That'll be my first day back. You'll not be hearing from me or seeing me very much until then. So wishing you all a good time. And I'll be sending around a thing if we work a lot on stuff. I have a doc for you. But thanks. See you soon.
Great update, JM. Enjoy Italy. I don't think Matt is with us or Ben. So, all right, team. Yeah, I agree with JM. This is an awesome meeting. Maybe it's the weather change, or maybe it's just great stuff that's happening every week. Enjoy the cafe after this. I'm not going to be able to join, but for those of you that will, I'm going to leave it to Ms. to tell us if it's the same Zoom link. And if I don't see you, have a great weekend. And thanks for all the awesome crushing it this week.